Greetings, all praising the King. Yeah, Rastafari. When you're dealing with content and information, what is often overlooked is how it's presented. People often just gather information without thinking about what is being told to them. How is it being told to them? How does the expression go? It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So, if there's content being generated on a smart device, for example, it's going to become what people think. Or on the television. For the longest time, this is what people do, is they sit and they watch it, and it gets into their head. Okay? And it's unfortunate for, the proverb, my people have been destroyed because of lack of knowledge, and poverty is the destruction of the poor because of ignorance. If this is all people know, then that's all they know. And nowadays people think that they're becoming educated. Dot here, .com, from staring at the screen. Seems logical. After all, they can show you a movie in 2 hours when it'll take you 2 weeks to read the book. So why not just get all the information in a shorter time? Because there's a lack of critical analysis. What people call critical analysis. This is basically just thought processing. You're thinking about what you're being told. Yeah. If the screen is changing the picture every few seconds, we got a neighbor with the television, and sometimes you'll look at a screen and it would just be, with no volume. All you see is just the picture changing. Right? But if you're watching the show, you don't really notice it because it's all part of what you're taking in. Yeah. So, it works in coordinates, and it becomes the thoughts of the viewer. The idea for these people is to engage others. That's why they have these troll bots. The second beast come across the screen to keep people in the realm. Now, how is the information being presented? Because you can make a movie about a subject and present it in almost innumerable ways. This is critical. This requires analysis. See? What people lack is the ability to discern. That's a kind of judgment. It's not an unrighteous judgment, prejudice towards one another. It's a determination of what it is that you're looking at. Is it good? Is it bad? And what people ought to think about is the way that they're perceiving the material. Are they looking at it as an audience, merely absorbing the information? Or are they looking at it as a director? To see, what's going into this production. This is the knowledge. So you know what the outcome is. The audience, they're left waiting in anticipation because they want to. See? They want to be in suspense. They want to lack knowledge. But you even have to take it a step further to think about who wrote the script and why. How is the material perceived? And by who? Who's the target audience? Who is listening? Right? Who do they make this stuff for? No, it's not me. So, this is the job of the producer of the film. So from a producer's and director's point of view comes the knowledge. So for example, today, the communication channels, they may give you information, or maybe they don't give you information. See? Now this is more important. What did they not tell you? And again, why? Yeah. Some of the information, like the mass surveillance, is presented early to a select audience. Who? Them, their people. 2003. So, this has to do with the distribution, which is now becoming even more sophisticated. They talk about ad targeting. Well, when they say ad, this doesn't necessarily mean a product, that you buy on the shelf in Walmart. They are promoting other ideas, ideologies, of ignorance. It's elementary. When people are no longer ignorant, now they know how things work. That becomes more difficult for the magician. how those mirrors are reflecting. Yeah, you sitting in that position, you can see through it. It takes discernment. It takes the ability to think about this and say, why is this being told? How is it being told? Now, in every circumstance, language is being used. Some language alters, whereas vocabulary is no longer used. Nevertheless, it's a form of communication. That is the common denominator. How is language being used? First of all, what language is being used? Okay. People often don't pay attention to words. They're thinking in phrases and perception. You think somebody said something because they said it a certain way, but if you broke down the words, you would find out they're saying something otherwise. These are where the operatives work to deliver these messages so that the audience interprets them the way that is beneficial to the producers. And nevertheless, oftentimes these programs, that word program is a form of behavior modification. Speak in two tongues because they have different audiences. And why are the audiences different? Because of class. And this phrase now, class content, referring to content classification. Maybe somebody calls it input to output mapping. They can come up with any names. It has a purpose. So these scientists, the social scientists that are working in fields such as bioinformatics, are determining how content affects individuals specifically. What content affects which individuals? How? Why? How could this be applied now to a wider base? They're looking at mapping. They're looking at dots. They're determining the outliers. They're finding how they can pull the outliers to the center. Man's depleted the resources from the earth. Now man has to sell this lie progression. He's going to flood the people with the information using his communication channels that are part of the same networks. You have this sophisticated operation with this WikiLeaks company working in coordination with the mainstream communication channels to give them their authority, which is the trust of people. In return, they make the associations with the same institutions that were pretending to persecute them. Yeah. And you may have a few players, taking a few hits, and they're well satisfied. So it's a stage show. in a showcasing event, how is it presented? Who is it presented to? Then, how will they interpret it? Perception. How will this now affect those around them? You know, a cultural evolution. And it's all measured now with these devices. You know? So if something's not working, some adjustments can be made. Different content produced. Now this is done by, some of it is done by what they call the government. These are federally paid programs. People pay their taxes. They don't have to. They can choose to not have those federal taxes withdrawn if they're a conscientious objector, if they possess knowledge of how things are done, why things are done, what is the outcome, knowing that the outcome is evil. If a situation is serious, it will be presented like make a joke. When they're getting ready to present information to the ignorant. In one instance, they know the ignorant do not have the information ready. So they're going to feel belittled because they're going to be thinking about this. Some. So they're not likely to actually say anything because when the information is presented, it's made known to them that this has been happening, whatever it may be, for so many years. So many people know. When they feel ignorant, then they're not willing to stand up. Coward. And then the information is presented lightly, which makes it a bit easier to absorb. You know, it's made a joke. AI is coming out, it's gonna kill people with the robots. Huh. You know, by the time it actually, you know, does contribute to the demise of the planet and decent Earth species, well, who's gonna play back some guy that was joking about it? You see what I'm saying? Because the attitude's always like, oh, you just need to be positive, man. Just, you know, work hard, and if things don't always go right, just, you know, the communication channels are constantly presenting these horror stories. People who had to survive horrific situations. You know, they don't have anything anymore. The communication channels come along, give them a few $100s, and they present it in a viewpoint that's saying, you know, hey, you know, things are real bad for other people. You should be grateful for what you have. And there's a real sneaky slyness to this approach. Yeah. Because meanwhile, while people just, you know, go about their business happy-go-lucky, someone is suffering somewhere. Reality is really not good for the future, you know. Freedom goes away. And these people are conditioning the populations to accepting this. They're using pornography to take people, you know, away, so that people no longer even know how to think for themselves. They're zombies.